Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be on your program.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. It's been a long time since we've collaborated
It
on
has.
anything, and I don't know if we've ever done a live show, so I don't think
Yeah,
so.
so it's always been podcast or radio shows.
That's right. Yeah, back in the day. And let
Uh-huh.
me tell you, I've been having a lot of fun going through our old material that we recorded back then and hearing your voice and your insights and going over all the crazy stuff that we talked about. It's mostly all paranormal stuff
Right.
on that show. So, Sandy, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, please, because you have so many projects and wonderful things going on, and I'm not even sure which ones to highlight. So, would you mind introducing yourself and what you do?
Well, sure. Let me see. I'm Sandie LaNae. And first and foremost, I'm a psychic. I was born with my abilities. I help people, um, with their concerns. And I give my intuitive readings using minerals. I love that. That's fun. Let's see what else. I'm an author, and I'm just now editing the last part of my 35th book. Yeah, it's fun.
35.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly history around this area. I should add
Mhm.
that I live in Carson City, Nevada,
Yes.
United States, and there's rich history here, Western history, cowboy
Mhm.
history, things like that. And so I like to write about that because I feel that history needs to be preserved.
I agree with you
Mhm.
100%. And
Yeah,
there's not enough material out there really even for people that want to research. So
that's right.
sadly, yeah, I've been keeping up with your titles. It's too much. I don't know
It,
how you do it.
it's too much for me too. In my living room, I've got a nice shelf with all my books, and I'll pass by. It's like, I wrote all those?
I
Whoa.
wrote all that. You know what? I just pulled out a special box out of my cupboard with some of my old books that I'd published. And I was looking for something in particular. And on the bottom, I've got some of your early books
Uh-huh.
in print. So
Oh,
the Ghost Hunter's Guide is in
uh-huh.
there,
Hmm.
your Thin Veil Investigators book. And I
Hmm.
didn't even go through the box. I was too busy at the time, but I thought, oh, I'm so happy I have these. Like that's
Well, I was happy
amazing
because
stuff.
you were my editor at the time.
For a little while, yeah, yeah. I know. You know what? I still have those files somewhere on my flash
Oh, yeah.
drives and
Oh, good.
various computers. Yeah. I'll
Oh,
be happy to help you again if you ever need me.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Well,
But
let's
I,
see,
I
what
think
else do I do? I'm a paranormal investigator. I didn't mean to butt in. I'm sorry.
no, no, mostly.
I'm a paranormal investigator, and our team was born November 19th, 2005. And so we're going to be 20 years old pretty soon. And
Wonderful.
we investigate all kinds of areas around here. It just in our general area, houses, buildings. We even go into fields, okay,
Hmm.
different parks. Let's see, items. We have investigated a teapot, rings, haunted paintings, dolls, clocks.
Tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about the teapot. I just saw a snippet from you online about the teapot.
Oh, yes. Many years ago, a woman had a teapot from the Civil War era, and she asked me to come in and investigate it, look it over because it was like moving and there was kind of sad, bad energy in it. So I went, found a soldier. He was a big poo head. And so she said, "Can you take this home? I don't want it anymore." I said, "Only for a little while." So I kept it in my garage in a box,
Mhm.
and I would talk to it every once in a while. And I just said, "Why don't you go on? Go wherever you want." He didn't. He's still in the war. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to give you, the teapot back to the woman because I just can't handle that kind of energy, even if it's in my garage. I don't want that kind of energy here.
Did you
So
have any activity when the teapot was there, or was it just
no,
just the feeling
yeah,
that
but yeah,
yeah?
just the feelings. I won't allow
Mm.
things like that in my home. We investigated gosh, let me see. It was built in 1862, a hotel here in Carson City, and there was a very badly haunted painting there. And long story short, one of the caretakers said, "We don't want this here anymore." In fact, what happened, I need to go back in time a little bit. We were there, investigated the hotel, saw the painting, told the caregiver, and then it disappeared for 4 or 5 years. And all of a sudden, boom, it was back. Nobody knows how it returned. It was in a closed lock closet.
Oh
So
my.
they asked me, they said, "Would you please take this home?" I said, "Okay," because when people have had touched it, they would either feel very cold or sometimes it would burn their skin. It was weird. Well,
Well,
anyway,
hot and cold.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a something bad in it. And I said, "Okay, I'll bring it home." Well, I went to the hotel, got a big box, a big garbage bag, because it's pretty large. And I
Mm.
wrapped it all up. I put it in the trunk of my car and I yelled at it. I said, "Don't you dare get me in an accident or I'm going to throw you out next to the curb." Well, wouldn't you know, about 2 blocks away, at that time, I had a small car and a big delivery truck. Didn't see me, pulled out in front of me. Fortunately, I was in a very narrow street doing like 10 miles an hour. And I hit my brakes. And then the delivery truck just kept, turning towards me. Oh boy, I used every cuss word in the book to that painting. But I got home
Yeah.
and I keep it in the shed. And the weird thing is, it has moved. It moves
Oh,
by itself. That is just freaks me out.
why
So,
am I not surprised?
uh,
Yeah.
so about once a month, I go out there and it's just like, go through all my garbage. It's like, "How are you doing? You still here? You haven't moved? Okay, fine. You're okay." So I love the spiritual world, and I even love my demons. And make sure that there's been people that want to buy that painting or they say burn it, or it's like, no, something's there. I guess I'm the caretaker of it, and that's okay. But
Do
I'll
you know
never.
anything? Sorry,
Oh, I was
do
just
you
going to
know
say,
anything about the history of it? Like,
no, nobody does. No,
is there
but
a signature on the
no,
painting at
there's no
all? Nothing?
signature on the painting, on the canvas frame, on the back,
Mhm.
no date.
Okay.
The caretaker of the hotel, when we first investigated, gosh, this was back in 2005 or six that we were there. She said just one day it was hanging on the wall. And I was like, okay. And then when it disappeared, she asked the staff, employees,
Mhm.
"Did you take that painting?" "No, we wouldn't touch it. It's icky." So then it disappeared that nobody knew where it was. But I have it now.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't
Lucky
bother
you.
me. Other people, I've, had people around here, "Can we come and see it?" And it's like, yeah, you just don't take it out of the shed. Just stand there in my shed and touch it. Don't bring it out because I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right, definitely.
So,
Well, going back to your almost your accident, I mean, that's first of all, what a premonition that you had.
mhm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And secondly, that takes a lot. And yeah,
Mm.
wow, must have a lot of energy to it.
Sure. Yeah, it
Whoa.
does. And some people, they've touched it, seen it, no feelings whatsoever. It's
Hmm.
ugly painting too. It's just ugly forest with an ugly river and an ugly beach. There's nothing nice about this picture. It's just ugly. Ugly,
Wow.
uh, dark color. Even the sky, it's just ugly. So I guess I have to have an ugly painting.
There you go. Your little pet
That's
painting.
right. That's right.
So, well, Sandy, let's talk about remote viewing, if you don't
Okay.
mind. I think we decided we're going to talk about that on this episode, and then hopefully we'll have many, many more. And the reason I bring that up is you've done remote viewing for me many times in the past, and I know that you're having an upcoming class
Yeah.
workshop.
This Saturday.
Um,
Yeah.
this Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
A couple
perfect.
days from now.
This will warm you up for it then.
It will. It will.
Do you have them very often, that kind of class, or?
I try at least twice a year.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
And
that's good because I have it in my house, So I just twice a year is good. And that gives time in between. I've had repeats, they'll come back a second time.
mhm,
And it's like,
mhm.
we just can't get the hang of it. And it's like, yeah, you do. You're not giving yourself enough credit. But, come join us again. So why not?
I find that with a lot of psychic skills and so on, is that people have them, but they don't give themselves enough credit, like you said. And they discount a lot of the things that they do perceive, and be that through any kind of whether it's mediumship kind of thing, or readings of any kind, or just tuning in, or even your sixth sense. People often don't give themselves enough credit. And for myself, it's like, go for it, trust
Mhm,
it, don't
mhm.
don't don't uh put it down, like whatever you're getting or feeling. So
Yeah.
tell me, how do you start your class off? Like, what do you how do you teach people?
Well, I have like five different exercises, okay, mental
Mhm,
exercises. And
mhm,
the first couple, you practice your psychic ability. I help you become aware of it because I believe
mhm.
everybody's got ability. They're just
Yeah.
like me, you and I, we use it all the time. Some people, they just have other things to do. So there's just
Hmm.
little twinklings now and then. But that's what I
Right.
do is I start out with, let's get your psychic abilities geared up. And
Hmm.
then we just slide right on into remote viewing on how to do that. And I love my students and I love this class because I've had people, they'll come in and they're, like you said a second ago, they're a bit afraid. They can't do it. But by
Hmm.
the end of the class, which is, oh, I don't know, hour and a half, however long I talk,
Hmm.
at the end, most everybody will find, I have them sit in my living room and then I have a lost object in the kitchen and I have them write down what they feel, where it is, what it is. And so at the end, they go into the kitchen and they'll say, oh, I was looking at, like, let's say it's something black and white. They'll say, oh, I saw so much black. And I thought, that's weird because your kitchen's white. So they saw that.
Hmm.
And at one time, I have like this ghost cookie jar that sits in the corner. And the people said, I saw the ghost cookie jar. And it's like, see, you knew the area. You didn't zero in on the lost object, but that's okay. You're honing your ability. You saw the environment that it was in.
Hmm.
So I would say 99.99% of the people that take the class, they come in and you can tell by their face they're scared, they're skeptical. When they leave, it's so awesome because they're smiling. And it's
Ah,
like you can hear them tell themselves, I did it.
they've discovered something that they didn't even know they could do.
Right.
Yeah,
And the
that's amazing.
interesting thing is, in fact, I got my notes right here. The interesting thing is that this is not, well, I have to say it's spiritual, but this is scientific. Remote viewing is scientific. Okay.
It sure is. Yes.
The
I was going to
military
ask you to
uses it.
talk about that.
Mhm.
Applications, yes.
Oh yeah, scientists use it. It's
Mhm,
incredible. And let me see. Studies have shown that even people who feel that they are non-psychic have been
mhm.
trained to remote view, becoming successful with results that are on the 100% side of accuracy.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's incredible. I give a little background about remote viewing before we start the exercises, and people are
Mhm.
kind of stunned that this is actually a scientific method using, I guess, your psychic abilities. I
Well,
just have to find them.
doesn't the CIA use remote viewers and the
Oh, yeah.
military,
Hmm.
the levels of stuff that we don't even know about?
Hmm.
And it's also used in police detective work.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah.
And
It's
I
just
know it's not advertised, but they do
right.
use it. Yes.
Yeah, like you said a second ago, there are so many applications for it.
Hmm.
And if you train your brain, you can do it. And it's awesome, Zsuzsana. It is so awesome to have this ability because I go lots of places and I don't have to pay for plane fare. It
You don't have to pack your bags or anything.
nothing. I can sit right here and it's like, okay, Carson City, it's like maybe snowing here today. Let's go to the Bahamas and get warm.
And how long do you typically stay on a little vacation
Oh,
like
well,
that?
I think because being I can't have, a Mai Tai or something like this. It's like,
Yeah,
well, okay, I'll just hang out for a few minutes and come
a few
back home.
minutes. Yeah,
My cat needs me.
I hear you. If they were serving Mai Tais, then that would be a whole different story. Yeah. Oh my
Remote
goodness.
viewing really is fun. If I can get serious here for a second,
Yeah.
I happen to work with many paranormal teams, investigative
Mhm,
teams in
mhm,
Canada and United States and also in Italy. And what they'll do is they'll let me know they're going to whatever house at whatever time, and I just join them. And then I write down my findings of, who I saw, what I smelled, what I touched, and I send it to whoever. Okay.
mhm,
And then they take the findings and they work it into their report and show the owner or the rentor or whatever.
mhm,
And it's usually right on. If I could boast, it's usually right on. Now, one thing I don't do is if they give me an address, ABC Main Street, I don't go look at that, like Google Earth it or anything. I don't go
mhm,
look at that until after the owner of the building or the renter
mhm,
has
mhm,
replied and
mhm,
told the paranormal team, yes, this is here, no, that didn't happen, or this person is here.
mhm.
Then I'll go look at the home or the building or area. And it's like, oh, no wonder I saw or I felt this. When I go and look, that clarifies and verifies some of my visions. So,
Definitely,
mhm,
definitely. And I would do it the same way,
mhm.
actually, because you don't need the address to go there. Although it's a what do you call it? It's a marker for
Sure,
you
right,
that
right. Hmm.
after having seen what you see, and
Hmm.
then to try to match it up. That's fantastic. That must be
Hmm.
so gratifying
Oh, it
when
really
you
is.
come up with all touch points
Hmm.
and things that you've noticed. Yeah.
Oh, it really is. And it amazes me too. If I could say, I can't say the name of the company, but again, out of Italy, I work with an archaeological company. Okay.
Hmm.
In Mexico, they've been in Mexico and Lebanon.
Wow.
And for an example, I work with one man through this company, and he will send me a coordinate. And I need an address or a coordinate, okay, just so I
Right.
know where I'm going, not end up the other side of the earth. So I go there And for an example, they were on an archaeological dig to find, this was in Mexico, they wanted to find a city under a city. Let's put it that way. Okay. An ancient city under an ancient city. So I I remote viewed there. And while remoting, I saw this person and I did that and went this tunnel and blah, blah, blah. So then when I was about finished, I thought, I wonder what's under here. Well, I found another city and we're going back about 8,000 years. Okay. That was under that.
Wow.
So I told the man that. I said, this is what's under there. And they said, they had, what is it, like that ground penetrating whatever? They tried that.
Mhm.
They couldn't find things. But I said, no, it's there. Give me a map of what the buildings are in that city, and I'll show you where they are. Well, they were like over a little bit. And so they did whatever they did. And he wrote back, oh, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 months later. He wrote back, he said, we found it. And it's
Oh
like,
my.
cool. It's like,
Oh
cool.
my.
Mhm. So
Wow.
that is awesome to me. I
It
love them
sure
because
is.
because
But
I love helping people like that. I mean, this is
well,
important.
that's a gift to humanity, really. I
Mhm.
mean, it
Oh,
is. Yeah, it's huge. That's a
well,
huge thing.
yeah,
Finding a archaeological site that wasn't known prior.
right.
Wow.
Well, he did ask me
Amazing.
as well. They were looking at a certain area. I think this was in Central America. I can't remember. This is about a year or so ago. I can't remember where I go. And he asked me, he said, we're trying to find like a specific geological something going on, a river, mountain. I'm not quite sure what I have to read my notes because when I go remoting, I'm in a trance and then I type my findings and then I forget about it. Okay.
Mhm.
But
Sure.
anyway, he asked me to go back 10,000 years, 5,000, 1,500 years, and you wouldn't believe what I saw 10,000 years ago. It was incredible. The world was on fire. It was stinky. It was red. It was hot. It was smoky. It was horrible,
Wow.
especially in
So
that area.
that's crazy.
Then I went
In terms
forward
of
to 5,000 or 5,000 years, and it
yeah,
was still yellowish. It was
really.
Yeah. When I got to the 1,000 years ago, then it started clearing out. It was pristine looking again. Mm. Oh, one
So
thing, if I could, I'd like to add that when I'm remote viewing, I love this. I can see, like I'm looking at you, looking at my computer, my house. I can hear, like I hear
mhm,
you, hear the birds outside. I can feel the temperature. If it's cold, if it's hot, if I'm walking on cobblestones or grass, I can taste the air. I can smell the air. I can taste, oh, I don't even know what you call it. Like if I'm near an ocean, I can taste the sea uh, in the air. Every sense that you have on a physical plane, I have remoting.
yeah,
And I can hear people
um,
talking. It's so much fun. It's just incredible. How I had this ability, no clue whatsoever. It was just there.
so do you have to go into a trance kind of state to remote view?
I would say yes, because, if you give me an address, 123 Main Street somewhere, I go there. And it's, gosh, how can I describe that? It's like I leave my body.
Hmm.
Although if the doorbell rings, I'm going to hear it. Okay, then I come
Right.
out, go answer the door. But it's very difficult to describe because it's like I actually am there. Zsuzsana, like I said, I can feel the floor I'm standing on or the cobblestones that I'm standing on. I can hear horses clopping down the road. Okay, gosh, and it's just incredible for me to feel all of those things while I'm there. Now, to add to that, there has been times where people have asked me to remote view. And my daughter, Chantel, she knows what I do. She
Yes.
has to kind of prompt me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with, I was working with, actually, I was working with Simone in Italy quite a few years ago in Rome, and I
Mm-hmm.
was getting stuck in all of those ruins there. So Simone was asking Chantel to ask me, okay, do you see this road with this statue? And it's like, oh, there it is. We'll go down that road. Okay. So Chantel was having to prompt me
Right.
with,
Um, and that's not normal though. So, is that
oh,
because it's not normal for you to have to be prompted, is what I'm
mm-mm,
saying?
mm-hmm,
So, is this because Simone wanted specific information,
mm-hmm.
or I'm just wondering why in that case and why not in other cases? So, um, we're is it like she was pinpointing specific things that she
Yeah,
wanted you to look at?
right.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. So she was communicating with Chantal, your daughter,
Mm-hmm,
while you were remote viewing, while you were in
right,
a trance-like state, and
right.
then you were
Mm-hmm,
following the directions that you were
mm-hmm,
given.
mm-hmm.
Wow,
Well, because Rome
wow.
is just, I mean,
Mm-hmm,
that's just a city crammed full of everything.
mm-hmm,
What are the
mm-hmm.
names of the streets, the buildings?
Right,
There's no addresses, there's no nothing. So when she
right.
said go to the Coliseum, it's like, okay, oh, I'm there. I know what it is, so I'm there.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
then there's a zillion other things around it
Right.
that she was asking me to go and look for.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
That was,
Is there a difference between when you remote view or travel to a specific location in present time or when you switch to ancient times or a different you know time frame? Is there a difference in how you do that?
mm,
Because
no,
I can really understand the present day remote viewing
right. Hmm.
in any kind of location. I find it hard to imagine how to remote view like 5,000 years ago.
Hmm.
You're switching timelines, or
I guess through time.
what do you think? Like, yeah, I'm just wondering how that works.
Well, I
It's
was
so
asked
cool.
one time to go back 8,000 years to an Etruscan village. Okay, well, that's over in Italy. Around, I'm stuck in Italy, I guess. And I went back there and I was at the sea and I saw their vessels, their ships. They were
Mhm.
unloading, I don't know, boxes, whatever they were. I don't know what they were in, but I saw the people. I heard them talking. It was very warm that day, and I was kind of going, whew, hey, you let me out of here. It's warm. And it was just there, Zsuzsana. I was asked to go back, not a specific date, like January, what is it? January 23rd, 8,000
Right.
years ago. It's just 8,000 years ago. Can you just go
Mhm.
there? It's like, yeah. And I don't know why I ended up on the beach. I guess it was important that day for me to see, I guess a fleet of ships. There was, I think, five that were in port and they were
Mhm.
unloading whatever. I guess I needed to be there at that day.
Yeah. You saw a real slice of life for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah. But
Yes.
that's a very awesome question that you ask. Today versus thousands of years ago, I'm just there. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just there.
Well, I woke up this morning wondering, this is going to show my ignorance here. I can't remember how the dinosaurs died out.
Oh,
So,
I haven't gone back that far.
okay,
I
I'll
don't
catch you
know if
next
I'd
time with
want
that.
to. I don't know if I
You know,
want
when
to
you're
go back a
grumpy and you
million
just kind of,
years. That's funny. I love that.
Yeah. So, you remember that time you remote viewed my metaphysical shop? Um, oh, I'm trying to remember. And you had
Vaguely,
been,
but I
yeah,
do
you,
remember your home.
oh, tell me,
You
tell me.
remember, oh, this was years ago. You were at that time living in a two-story home,
Okay.
and in your living room, you had this very large trunk box, something, coffee table, something, and it had these yellow like tiles on it. And it just did not go with all of your furniture. And I said, Shoshana, what is that yellow thing?
I know what that was.
Yeah.
I know what that was. And that wasn't
Oh,
mine. That was my husband's.
oh,
And that's why I wouldn't have gone with my
oh.
stuff. I don't think we have that anymore. Oh, yes, we had two. We still have one.
Oh.
It's in the basement.
Well, do you
And
remember too that when you had the way your house was, if I can remember correctly, you had your living room and then you had like a hallway into a kitchen or something. But in the hallway was your stairs going up to your bedrooms, I'm assuming. And so we did an experiment. And I said, I will stand in that stairway because it was kind of a covered stairway, not opened. Okay, kind of
okay,
there was a wall, stairs, and wall. Okay.
yeah.
And I said, let me stand there and you walk down the hallway and see if you can feel me. And you did. I was,
Oh gosh.
remember that? I was
Yes.
2 steps up. So I was just
Wow.
a smidge taller than you. And you saw
I,
me, you felt me.
I do remember now that
Yeah.
you tell me.
Hmm.
I do. That was, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it kind of
That would
freaked
have
you
been,
out.
yeah. It was probably more exciting than anything else
Oh,
because, yeah,
that's fun.
you stayed for a glass of wine or something.
I
And now here
should
we
have.
go again with that, you know, you got to stay dry when you're astral traveling, right?
I am. I get parched.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, I remember quite a few times too when you had visited me and you were kind enough to type everything out for me and email it to me.
Mhm.
So I probably have that written down somewhere too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I do
Oh,
that with
good.
every time I'm out. I will actually, this is weird. I don't know why I do this, but I sit at my computer and I'm typing while I'm out and about because I write down
Mhm,
everything what I see, smell,
mhm,
hear.
mhm.
Of course, there are 5 gazillion typos, so I have to go back and retype it when I come back home.
Right, right,
But I don't
right.
want to forget anything because
Mhm.
there could be like over when I was in Rome, there could be like let's say a statue and he has a broken arm. I want to make sure that I write that down because that could be very important to the area where I was at. Yeah.
And if you're writing it down in the moment, you know it's not something you're going to gloss over. I'm the same way when I do like mediumship readings. I try to write down everything as quickly as I can while I'm getting it because it might not seem important to me at the time, a little detail or something, but it may be very relevant. So I do the same thing. I write it down as I go. And of
Hmm.
course, I have to straighten it all out afterwards. But
Right.
yeah, I think it's really, really smart to do that. It could be small details that make a lot of difference. Yeah,
Oh, they
tell
do.
something.
And those small
Mhm,
details are very important. You know, you
mhm.
can see a 20-story building in front of you, but when you write down that you saw a little fly on the front door, that's important.
That might mean
Yeah. Yeah.
something for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that darn fly on the wall.
You never know. That could be somebody listening in.
That's what I mean.
That's That's fun.
Oh my goodness. So, well, thank you so much for that brief rundown. That at least the remote viewing. It's fascinating. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. I, unlike you, I have no um, senses at all. Like I'm totally mind blind, so I don't visualize. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
hear anything. I don't
Hmm.
have an inner voice. I can't.
Oh,
I can't recreate anything. Like
okay.
nothing. Nothing. And so I do things a little bit differently. When I try to visualize something, or visualize is the word I'm using, but it's not really visualizing for me, that I just come up with a concept. So I can't see it. I can't anything. I can't imagine touching it or nothing, but I do have an idea about it, a concept. So even with remote viewing kind of practice or whatever, I've never done a lot of it, but that's the best I can come up with, the concept. But I can still be pretty accurate with
Oh,
that
you're more than
too.
accurate. Yes, you
So,
are.
well, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, it's a totally different thing. And I can just imagine how exciting it is if you could actually like experience it, like be in it. And
Uh-huh.
yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
it's
There's some times where I've gone places and, whoo, I need to get out of there. It smells.
it
It's just
smells
not the
bad.
right place to be. Yeah. Not when I
Yeah.
remote view for spirits, going in on an investigation,
Hmm.
there's been times I would say more than not, that spirit is seeing me.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay. There's been a few times where the owner wants the spirit out of the house.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'll help that out. Well, there's been a few times again where I've really had to have a long argument with that spirit. It's like, get out of here. And they'll say, no, this is my house. And it's like, not anymore. We go back and forth, just like a
Hmm.
spoiled child, back and forth. And then
Hmm.
finally, it's like, if you don't leave, I'm going to make you leave. You can't do that. Watch me. And they leave. They leave.
Yeah.
Mhm. In
Wow.
fact, just let me see, it was about maybe, about 6 months ago, a little town about 12 miles from Carson City. These people were having a heck of a time with a spirit that was coming. And they had, let me see, she was 9-year-old daughter, and the spirit was really just being nasty to the daughter,
Oh.
just irritating her, scaring her, things like that, just being
Hmm.
real nasty. So I don't know, I can't remember how they got a hold of me, but they did. And they said, can you come in? I said, I can remote view. So I did because I was too lazy to drive there. And I found who it was. Now, a little backstory in this valley, the indigenous people were here of the Washoe peoples. Okay.
Hmm.
And it was a valley where they met other clans, tribes, meeting, gathering, things like that.
Hmm.
Well, who I found in that house was he was, gosh, what was he? About a 19, 20-year-old Native American boy. He wasn't about to leave because where the house was sitting on the ground used to be a shack, something where he
Hmm.
used to stay. He wasn't about to leave. And I said, you have to, because you're
Hmm.
bothering everybody, especially the child, because spirits like children's energies, because they're so
Right.
energetic.
Right.
And he too, I had a long argument with him. And I finally said, you've got to leave. How about going next door?
Oh no.
And he finally left because I was forcing him to. I said, you cannot stay here and bother these people and scare them. Go someplace
Mhm.
else. It's a big valley. go find someplace else to hang out. And he did. He
At
eventually
least
left. You
you didn't send him too far. So
No, so I can go next door. That's horrible of me. I've done that before. It's like, see that house way over there? Go there. Go there.
well, if he didn't find a child to bother there, then that's fine.
Yeah,
Like you said, he was probably attracted to that. He could easily disturb her,
right. Well, sure,
and
because kids are,
children
yeah.
are more open
Oh,
anyway. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
but that
probably
poor.
wherever you sent him, he just whatever, couldn't cause any trouble.
Once a month, I went back, remote viewed because I told him I would. I'll
Yeah,
just make sure he's not there, and he hasn't returned. That was gosh, that was a actually it was the summer of 2023. Come to think of it, so yeah, he hasn't come back.
good, good,
Mhm.
good. Well, I know who to call.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
But
Sandy, thank
mhm.
you so very, very much. Let's do this again really soon.
Oh
We'll pick
yeah.
another topic. We
Oh
can just
sure. I love to talk. I love to share
uh,
information. So thank you. Like I said at the beginning, this
thank
was a
you.
true honor to be with you again.
My honor and my pleasure, totally. So, like, till next time.